Welcome into 13 Personnel. I'm Easton Freeze here with Ryan Roberts and Joe DeLeone to talk about one Jaxson Dart, who had his 2026 season kickoff in the first preseason game this past weekend. A little bit of fireworks, a little bit of action from that game, more than you would expect from a young starting quarterback in a preseason game. And I'm here to moderate Joe and Ryan fight about this young man. So who wants to start? What do we think about what Jaxson Dart looked like in his preseason debut this season?
I'll let Ryan start because, and this is the perfect pairing of people to talk about this, because Ryan hates everything about Jaxson Dart. He hates Cam Scadaboo. He hates everything about the Giants, everything that's good about the Giants. So go ahead, Ryan. I'll let you start. You can start.
Well, I don't like how you're setting me up that way, because now the Giants fans are going to be in the comments saying Ryan sucks, even though I haven't even laid out my opinion on either of those players until right this second. Joe, once upon a time, there was a young man named Jaxson Dart coming out of Ole Miss where Ryan Roberts actually began higher on him than the consensus. And then unfortunately, the consensus just went way too far upward. And the concerns that I had for him following his rookie year were things that when we're talking about a preseason evaluation, you want to see, did he improve upon the things that you wanted to see? Because here's the thing about Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart was actually better as a rookie than I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be a little bit of a disaster, to be honest with you. And I thought that he showed that he's a little bit more, his floor is a little bit higher maybe than I gave it credit for. I thought he was going to be a little bit more developmental. But the things I wanted to see him improve upon, especially with Coach Harbaugh coming in, a new system coming in, is I wanted to see increased pocket movement. I wanted to see just better awareness of where he is on the football field. And I wanted to see the ball come out a little bit quicker, a little bit crisper, all those things that you naturally see from a year one quarterback evolving into a year two quarterback. I don't think I saw that maturation in his abbreviated preseason debut. What I think I saw was exactly what I saw last year. He's going to make a couple plays every game that say, wow, that's effing fun, dude. That was really cool. The touchdown throw where he's rolling against his body, throws it high to Malachi Fields. That's awesome. That's great. Love to see it. But here's the point of quarterback play. There's a baseline that needs to be sustainable in order for quarterback play to ultimately go upward. This is the peaks and valleys of quarterback play. Because I know that Tyrone Tracy missed the block on the play that he got annihilated, but the fact is that even from the other plays in maneuvering in the pocket, I just don't think he necessarily navigates appropriately well. I think he's a tick slow still to process. I am still ultimately worried about Jaxson Dart as a sustainable product. The highs are cool. The highs are fun. The highs will get on the highlight reel every single week, but can he be a legitimate face of the franchise, sustainable quarterback each and every week? I still have my question marks, and nothing in the preseason debut changed my mind on that fact.
Ryan, he had 6 passes.
Joe, I don't want to say anything until you have a chance to answer here. So what is your rebuttal? I see you shaking your head a little bit.
Yeah, he had 6 pass attempts, Ryan. He threw 4 passes, and he was 3 for 4 on those passes. Look, the big talking point that has been coming out during Giants camp is the fact that Dart's learning how to completely replay the position. Last year, Brian Daboll did not do him any justice by babying him, completely babied him. I understand that a lot of times you are trying to get a rookie comfortable, but they ran a lot of the stuff that he ran at Ole Miss, a lot of RPOs. It was nothing overtly complex. He performed well in those situations, but Kafka, who took over as the interim coach, his efforts to possibly earn talks of him maybe getting the head coaching job if things went well, continued to baby Jaxson Dart. He's being asked to do things that he's never done before. He wasn't playing under center at Ole Miss, nor was he really doing it that much last year. You know what they did the entire time, most of this game against the Vikings? They ran the ball, and he was under center often in this game. He didn't do anything except for the touchdown that he threw to Malachi Fields, which was great. I'll get to in a second. He didn't do anything that was like amazing. His stat line was unimpressive because he had 4 pass attempts. But with all the talk there had been of struggles, of him learning and adapting during camp, I thought he looked fine. I thought that it fit to the way that it had been described. If anything, he was better than everybody had been describing it, that he wasn't understanding or learning the offense effectively. The 2 throws that he had to Isaiah Likely were exactly what I wanted from Jaxson Dart. Read the field, see Likely's open, get the ball out quick. He got the ball out quick in those circumstances. The sack that he took, he made a gigantic mistake in which I wouldn't even classify it as a mistake. He realized that first read wasn't open, and one of his biggest issues when he was at Ole Miss is that he struggled to navigate off of that first read onto the second one. And instead of navigating to another read, he immediately panicked and he tried to run out of the pocket. The pocket was collapsing. He took the sack. The Tyrone Tracy circumstance is mostly on Tyrone Tracy's fault. That is all on him. He needs to be paying attention. But I do give a 2% blame to Dart for not having the pocket awareness to sense that someone was coming full speed at him and he's quick enough to evade something like that, but that didn't end up occurring. But the big positive that comes from this, from 2 short throws, 1 incompletion, was the great improvisational throw that he had to Malachi Fields. That is the type of stuff that you're trying to facilitate and build upon. You do want more in-pocket performance, but his ability to extend that play and to rip it to Malachi Fields without hesitation, to allow for Fields to utilize his traits as a contested catch winner in the red zone, is something that you want to repeat this upcoming year. If they can do that, it forces defenses onto their heels because they're worried about him scrambling and extending plays. I just think that the takeaway from this is I don't think that we can come away from this game thinking that, it's a disaster. This second year in the NFL is going to be a huge problem. He had 6 pass attempts.
See, this is the problem. Is that you're trying to make this like a hyperbolic thing. I did not say this is a disaster.
You made it hyperbolic.
I did not say that this was the end of. I did not say this was the end of the Jaxson Dart era. I did not say he was horrible. I did not say this was pathetic. I did not say any of these hyperbolic. My take is that the things I wanted to see him improve upon, although in a small sample size, I didn't see improvement on. You know what else I didn't see, Joe?
How are you supposed to see that with 6 pass attempts?
Joe, you know why part of the reason why he only had 6 pass attempts? Because he got sent to the medical tent again because he's going to protect himself.
Because that's not on him. He's not getting sent to the medical tent.
It's never on him. It's never on him. I know. It's never on him.
Explain to me how he's supposed to protect himself when he gets hit because he thought that his running back was going to pick up that blitz.
At some points, if you consistently can't protect yourself, you explain
how he's supposed to protect himself in that circumstance.
I am not excusing Tyrone Tracy. I'm not excusing Tyrone Tracy. He missed the block. He is the blunder. It's his fault.
Easton's calling timeout here.
Right, yeah, call the audible. Easton. Go ahead.
I gotta call a timeout here. I'm the ref in the ring. I gotta pull these guys apart for 1 second because what I'm hearing here is that you don't actually disagree on what you want to see from him this year, what you need him to improve upon from his rookie year. Joe just doesn't think he saw enough in this one preseason game to have a feeling one way or another on that.
It's fair.
He had one great play, a couple of bad plays. It's exactly what I thought was going to happen. Nothing changed. That's the takeaway from this, Ryan.
Question.
Yes.
If your argument, Joe, is that it's too small a sample size, if he goes out and has the exact same amount of exposure in the next 2 preseason games and performs exactly the same, will a tripling of what you saw in that game give you more or less confidence in him this season?
If in the next preseason game he goes out there and they don't throw the ball that much, my thoughts on this are not going to change because the way that I'm understanding and evaluating how they're going about this. The main reporting that has come from all of the major beat reporters for the Giants has been the following, that he is slowly learning how to play. They also have 3 different offensive philosophies that they're trying to merge into one offense with Nagy, with Roman, and with Callahan. It's like the most convoluted thing that they're trying to do. So not only is Dart trying to learn the offense, they're also trying to learn what the offense is going to be around Dart. I don't think that they're going to let him throw the ball much in these preseason games because I think that they're trying to keep out of the public eye what the offense is going to look like, and they don't want other NFL teams to evaluate his performance because they're trying to figure out what they're going to build this offense to be in 2026. I think what they're going to do is they're going to just keep running the ball because that's also what they're going to do this entire season is run the football. I don't need Dart, in all honesty, for them to be successful this year. I don't need him to throw for 3,500 yards and 30 touchdowns. I need them to run the ball, and I need them to figure out who's going to replace Tyrone Tracy's carries because he showed that he can't be the 1B running back. They need somebody else. But the main bit here is that if they run the ball well, Dart plays better. And if Dart plays well enough within the new system that's run-oriented and tight end heavy, I think that this team defensively is good enough to do some damage.
All right, then I have a question for both of you to keep this productive. And Ryan, I promise I'm going to let you shoot as many holes in this as you want to in just 1 second. Okay, your question will allow you to do that. But Joe, the question for you is, if they are merging these offensive philosophies, and we're not going to see Jaxson Dart unleashed to his full regular season potential until we get to the regular season, what are you expecting this offense to look like? If they're not going to baby him like Daboll and Kafka did, what are you wanting to see from him when all the training wheels come off and it's full go?
Well, one, I honestly don't think it's possible to know what to expect, but based on a lot of and some of the things that like worked really well, like there was the one play that Maui Noah completely paved the gigantic hole and Cam Scadaboo had a huge gain. I think it is going to probably be a heavy lean on running the ball and building a lot of the pass concepts off of play action. A lot of the things that very simple stuff that they did with connecting with Isaiah Likely, like get Isaiah Likely open over the middle of the field on short routes after you've ran the ball a couple of times. That's what I think that this offense ends up becoming. And I think that with that heavy run emphasis, it will be a lot more of what Dart is currently uncomfortable with, which is under center, drop back. He threw a screen that was terrible. It was a really bad screen, the one incompletion that he threw. But the reason why it was bad was because he's not used to doing it. And it was also a really bad play design. He threw a screen with his back turned to the screen and didn't get an opportunity to check if it was worth throwing that screen. So I think that they're still figuring this stuff out. It's kind of hard to like really identify and define what it's going to look like.
Well, first and foremost,
is that what you think is best for maximizing Jaxson Dart? Hang on. Is that what you think that they need to be doing, Joe?
Running the ball, getting him on the move, running play action, I think is the best way to activate Jaxson Dart. I think that he didn't do that really in college, but his physical tools tell you that he is meant to be in this type of an offense that allows for him to roll, move, expand the pocket, let people chase, and let receivers flow. It wasn't that type of a play on the Malachi Fields touchdown, but when he got on the move and the defense was scrambling to kind of figure out what they needed to defend, it left Fields wide open. I think that they need to build a lot of this offense off of play action, which is kind of a modern focus for a lot of teams that are successful offensively.
All right, Ryan, I'm taking you off the leash. What are your concerns?
Thank you. Appreciate you. I just find it so funny that Joe says that he doesn't want to see Jaxson Dart babied, but he wants them to run the ball every play. It's just hilarious.
It's not babying though.
Hilarious contradiction. I think that overall, Joe, I would love to hear your perspective on this. Actually, I'm going to set you up for a different type of a conversation, maybe to end this conversation. Is that you mentioned you have a splicing of 3 different offensive ideologies, basically creating into one. I hate that personally. Like, I dislike that very much. I've been taught from a very, very young age that when there's too many chefs in the kitchen, usually things don't go too well, right? So I am kind of worried to hear that we have 3 different offensive minds, multiple offensive systems, everything kind of merging into once. It may work out, possibly. But when I think of that group ideology, I do think that there is a lot of volatility that could happen because it takes one disagreement, one ideological shift, one couple bad stretch of games for teams to maybe panic a little bit. And I think that John Harbaugh is a great coach. And I don't necessarily think it's going to be a Pete Carroll situation in Las Vegas where it's just like, this is just not the right fit at the right time. But that honestly does worry me. Does it worry you at all that there is that many chefs in the kitchen?
That aspect of things does, and part of me wonders if maybe the reporting on that was blown a little bit out of proportion. I didn't like to be quite honest with you, the Roman addition to the offensive staff was probably one of the biggest mistakes because that guy has had his hands in the offensive play calling and decision-making for a very long time in the NFL now. And I kind of wonder if that is what is causing the problems. And I'm sure that Nagy came in thinking that he would have full control of building this offense. And, now he's got all these other guys that are in the fold. I agree with you. I'm holding out hope that this ends up getting turned into a singularity. Here's the thing, and it's difficult with this, is we're really not going to know until after the first month of the season. We're just not. It's either going to go disastrously bad and it's going to explode in their faces, or this is going to be a circumstance where, all right, they figure out the things that work. Enough people chime in. Roman builds a really good run game. And actually, as me complaining about Roman, the one thing that did work was Scadaboo getting the ball and running the ball and letting him go to work, make guys miss, run through contact, all those things. That worked really well. And I think that's probably going to, be a big defining point for this. Can Nagy build an effective pass approach that is going to work with Dart's traits, or is he going to overthink this thing like he's kind of done previously in his career? At the end of the day, I didn't like the Nagy hiring in general. So I'm hoping that some mix of philosophies ends up creating some sort of coherent offensive plan. We won't know. I have no idea. It's one of the biggest question marks with this team that I don't think enough people are talking about.
So I just thought the Roman addition was a mistake. Didn't like the Nagy hire. Big Callahan guy.
I mean, I don't know how I feel about Callahan yet. We're gonna find out how we're gonna find out. I'm gonna be honest with you. We're gonna
spread the love around there.
I'm gonna give him some time to see how Dart looks.
There you go. I'm going to give a brief end to this with just a reminder that this is, in fact, a team sport. And that there are other young players on this team that we saw for the first time, some rookies in that preseason game. So either of you chime in on what you liked from these young guys. You already mentioned, Joe, Maui Noah laying one nasty pancake block. Anything else that stood out?
For me, it was Arvell Reese was the big guy that I think that we got to talk about. And I know that Ryan's going to gush over him. I love one of the things that that I took away from when I played in college. My head coach always used to say to us is he'd rather we make a mistake at 100 miles per hour than play timidly. And I didn't think that Arvell Reese necessarily made mistakes, but I saw a young player that just was out there playing football and was playing with a reckless abandonment. While that sounds bad, what it means is that he thought he saw what was transpiring and he just attacked. He went downhill. He's flowing downhill. He's not processing in his head before he makes a decision on where he wants to go. He is just going. And I think that naturalness is something we're going to get more and more of. Knowing that he's going to be more of an off-ball role, I think we'll get more exposure to what he's capable of becoming. I mean, heck, there was one play, I was texting Ryan about this. There was one play where Reese beat Micah McFadden to his spot and ran into Micah McFadden because Micah McFadden was not fast enough. And that resulted in, I think, the 18-yard gain. Maybe it was the 18-yard gain by Jones. And if Reese the ball went the other way, Reese made that play at the line of scrimmage because he's that fast.
Yeah. I felt like I was watching the Ohio State-Texas game from last year again, watching Arvell Reese, where I was like, oh, buddy, we got a live one, man. We have one. He was putting his hands on folks, and folks were jarred by the just absolute power and explosiveness that this kid had. So, yeah, Joe, I always talk about this a lot when we talk linebackers. I think there's a big difference between being proactive and reactive. I think that it's a little bit overrated to be a reactive linebacker, to be honest, which sounds a little bit contradictory. But I do think that we saw a player that was trusting what he was seeing, even if what he was seeing wasn't always correct. But I think that matters so much. So, yeah, he was the big takeaway. CeCe Mauanoa was a monster of the run game in his first game as a guard. I think that overall it looks like it's one preseason game. Evaluations aren't proven right or wrong, but it certainly looked good early on for the Giants rookie crop for sure.
Well, the only thing I've learned from this conversation for sure is that we will undoubtedly be revisiting the Jaxson Dart conversation on the 13 personnel feed, maybe a month into the season when Joe said we'll know everything about the Giants by then. So enjoy you both being here. Thank you guys. Like, subscribe, do all those things. And make sure you're subscribed to the Best Pod Available feed where you can find more of these two chuckleheads going after each other. A lot of awesome national coverage here at A to Z Sports going on right now. Appreciate you guys. See you in the next one.